I grew up in a somewhat bi-religious family, where my dad's family was traditionally Catholic and my mom's is almost Jewish enough to actually practice a religion, meaning that I grew up celebrating Christmas and Hanukkah. Diversity is awesome. However, while I knew very well when the next Christmas would come, I repeatedly found myself asking my mom when Hanukkah would come that year, often with not much of an answer, because it always moves around in a month until it hits November before moving back to New Year's. Why does this happen though? Well, the short answer is that Hanukkah and other Jewish holidays doesn't really care about what the Gregorian calendar thinks today's date is. That's because Hanukkah doesn't follow the Gregorian calendar, but the Hebrew calendar, which is not just a different calendar system, but also works a little bit differently from the Gregorian calendar. You see, the Gregorian calendar is a purely solar calendar. Months are around 30.4 days long on average, instead of the actual 29.5 days it takes for the moon to orbit the Earth. However, those months evenly add up to 365-day years, which allowed the seasons to sync up with the months, but not necessarily the phases of the moon. The Islamic calendar works in somewhat the opposite way, having months that are 29.5 days long on average, whilst the years are only 354 days long, meaning that the phases of the moon match up perfectly with the months, but the seasons fall out of sync noticeably fast. This is why Ramadan happens at different times of the year, and why Islam doesn't have a winter holiday, as it doesn't work when, after a few years, it's a winter holiday for Australians. In other words, predicting what season Muharram 1450 will be is just as confusing as predicting the first full moon in January 2030. Although to be fair, Arabia isn't really known for its contrasting seasons. The Hebrew calendar, like most calendars, gets around this as is the lunar solar calendar. This means that the Hebrew calendar has 12 months that have an average of 29.5 days, and a year lasting 353 4 or 5 days, much like the Islamic calendar, but with one key difference. Every few years, it has a leap month, in order to keep the calendar in sync with the seasons, whilst also keeping it in sync with the cycles of the moon. This month is called Adar II, and it comes in the 3rd, 6th, 8th, 11th, 14th, 17th, and 19th years in a 19-year cycle. The reason all this is relevant to the original question is because, while the year is busy moving around, deviating from the Gregorian calendar by 10 to 12 days per year and realigning itself every few years, it also takes its holidays along for a ride, meaning that Hanukkah's date varies in the Gregorian calendar, even though it always falls on the 25th day of the Hebrew month of Kislev. And if you see Hanukkah's dates on Wikipedia for the next few years, you'll notice that it follows this exact pattern. Of course, this is all just a matter of perspective, really. If we were raised on the Hebrew calendar but still celebrated Christmas, Christmas would probably just move around in the months of Kislev and Tevet, the same way that Hanukkah moves around in our calendar system. By the way, if you're wondering, tonight's the second night of Hanukkah. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to leave a like, share this video, and subscribe for more every Sunday. Happy holidays, and I will see you on the first day of 2017.